Hello, my name is Slinky, and it's a nickname I was given a long time ago, and we can talk about that another time. But I wanted to start this series, My Pain Revolution, The Road to Recovery, to continue uh, not only exploring my own health. I've got fibromyalgia, functional neurological disorder. Central sensitization, a whole bunch, a very long list of things, including ADHD, on ADHD, off, sleep deprivation. You know, there was so much back and forth, and it's constantly changing and evolving. The more I learn, and the more that the medical world evolves as well with the way it deals with pain management and things. That it helps me understand it more. And I think if I can share my story and start talking with other people out there, professors, scientists, researchers, people sharing their own stories and their own experiences and lessons, then all for the better. I think more people talking about this kind of stuff out in the world means that more people are connecting and creating communities that can hopefully help each other, because it is a long road to recovery. It's a road that you're on forever. Once you've ever sort of dealt with anything like this, because life changes. No one day is really the same, and it's important to know that there are key networks, and there is communication, and there is information out there that can help you. So this series, My Pain Revolution, Finding the Road to Recovery, is going to sort of focus on my own life story and the things that I've learned from that, but then it will evolve into discussions, interviews, and other things with other professionals out there, so we can help connect, and hopefully we all learn something along the way. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I had a pretty serious accident where I dislocated my shoulder, you know, in a sporting injury, doing sport that I probably shouldn't have done. The person who reconstructed my shoulder said that if he ever finds out that I've been behind a boat again, he would never operate on me ever again, which hopefully he never has to anyway. And I hope to prove him wrong. I hope that I actually can get behind the boat again, um, once I'm ready. But basically, this injury was quite shocking. My arm basically ended up in my armpit, and I had nerve damage and all sorts of things from that. But what I really didn't understand for a number of years is the impact that had on my central nervous system, and the way my mind and my brain and my body communicate with each other. I'm been dealing with symptoms. I was tested for a number of years. I was showing symptoms along the lines of MS, Parkinson's, all sorts of different things, serious illnesses, and thankfully, so far, none of that has come to fruition. I've been cleared of those really serious illnesses and diseases. But what kept coming up was that I would tick boxes on, out of those columns from those illnesses and disorders, that were odd. I had um, lack of sensitivity in, I can't feel my front toes, my big toe, the front of my feet is what I meant to say. My front toes, obviously, the toes are always at the front. But yeah, weird things, numbness. It's not numbness though, because they tested it all, and the you know, nerves and everything seems to be functioning according to the way they test them. But I couldn't feel it. And so the way that my rheumatologist talks about it is essentially that, I have to relearn and rewire the way that my brain and body communicate with each other. So for some reason, there is like a fogginess between my communication system up here and my toes that just doesn't recognize the fact that my toe is actually there. Um, and we'll dive into like the specifics more and more. I just wanted to do this introductory uh, video and start this podcast because I started writing the series The Pain Revolution No One Is Talking About. If you haven't found that on my Substack page yet, please check that out. It goes into a fair bit of detail about this road to recovery that I've been on for quite some time. And what I want to achieve for this is just to start doing this daily. Start doing a really short, sort of 5 to 10 minute sort of diary where I can share what I've learnt that day or what I've been facing that day, things that I've been going through. And hopefully, I'll be getting interviews with people and getting others to share their story and what they've learned, and talking to the doctors and the professionals who are out there, changing the world for the better, changing the way that we understand pain and autoimmune systems and our central nervous system, and what I love about this is not only the fact that there's a bunch of Australians who are, basically in my uh, the way the world that I've been living in, just learning how to do all of this. They're rock stars out there, leading the world in pain management and how we understand pain. And the reason I wanted to focus on pain initially, I guess, was that was how a lot of my problems were presenting. I had chronic pain my entire life. I can remember seeing physios and doctors, before I was even 10. I've been in and out of hospital basically from 9 months old, having all sorts of different things, surgeries, and I had eye surgery and grommets and mid-ear infections and pain, right through primary school and all sorts of stuff. And it wasn't until I really sat down and did things like schema therapy and these other psychotherapy strategies that I started to look at all and started to understand why my central nervous system was in this constant fight or flight mode and was hyper protective, way overprotective uh, of everything. So, little things that would normally just be a tiny thing like uh, banging your foot or walking into a room full of loud noises or whatever it was, instead of just being what it was, my system would go into hyperdrive and start freaking out. And for a long time, even just feeling adrenaline would sort of be miscommunicated as, your heart rate's up and everything's elevated, so something must be wrong, rather than just seeing things as being excited or whatever it was. The reason that I was feeling that adrenaline. So, this is not scripted, if you can't tell at the moment, and I will get better and better at doing this. I just knew that I needed to sit down and record something today, and I will hopefully try and do it every day or every few days to get that consistency behind it all. And if you're hearing this and you have something that you want to share with me, that we can do an interview and chat about it, or maybe you've just got a topic that you want me to go and research and explore, this is another reason why I'm doing this. I need to get back on the horse, as they say. I've been a journalist and a content maker for 20 plus years, and I haven't been doing that for about a year or so now. I've taken this year off from my job at the ABC, where I've been working at Classic and Jazz, which was a fantastic experience and time for me. And they were so good to me while I was working there, despite my health issues and everything really being like a roller coaster ride. And um, yeah, I I want to get back to sharing stories. I want to get back to researching things that aren't just for me to actually survive the day. I want to get back to doing what I love doing, and that's being involved in communities and sharing stories and learning from everyone around us. And there's certainly some incredible people out there doing things every single day. And I'm not just talking about the experts and professionals who are, changing the way that we deal with pain and understanding our brains and our bodies and our central nervous systems. But the everyday you and I, people who are just getting up and going to work every day despite whatever's going on in their life and despite their struggles or despite the hardships that they're facing. So uh, I hope you have got something out of this, and please go and read my story, my articles, The Pain Revolution No One Is Talking About on Substack. Please go and have a look at the documentary I was lucky enough to be involved in called Pressure and Release. You can find that on YouTube, on The Guardian UK's incredible mini documentary channel that's on there and free. Pressure and Release, that's called. And yeah, let's keep it all going. I'll be back tomorrow with another one, and we'll keep trying to keep it consistent. And I want to try and find as much out there that's involved, in helping us understand our minds and our bodies, and dealing with this crazy world. And you know, you don't always have to reach for the script or the knife, the surgery and all these sorts of things. That's not to say that there's a lot of surgery that has kept me going and kept me moving, and there's a lot of medications that have done the same thing. But all too often, it's the quickest and easiest options that are given to us when there's a hell of a lot more out there that can be even more beneficial. And yes, it's often a long and slow road. Not always, though. I think you can be surprised, especially I think the more we start to talk about it, and community starts to appreciate these things, we can start to really change and evolve the way that we work and play, and and structure our families and all this kind of stuff to make it a lot easier to manage and handle. So my name is Slinky. My mother called me Samuel Emery, my mother and father. That's a weird way of saying it, isn't it? And I promise I will continue to get better at these with less ums and ahs, a bit more structure and a bit more scripting. But if I didn't record this now, then I probably never would. So I just wanted to get it started, get it going. And please contact me. You can find slinkytheagency.com is the website that I'm slowly getting together. That's all about listening parties and getting out into communities and trying to, connect people through audio and visual. Or you can email sam at slinkytheagency.com. I'll put all this up there once I get better at doing all of this. But I'm going to stop talking now because I'm going around in circles, and I'm going to get better at doing all this stuff. So I hope you enjoy it, and look forward to hearing from you all, and look forward to getting this happening. Where is the stop button? Goodbye.